Hi, this is Daniela Weiss. I would like to talk to you about iridology today because very often when people start in my program, the Reset Your Body program, they will ask me the question, why do you use iridology? And how do you know what is wrong with me? And that's a really interesting question because people tend to come uh, with a diagnosis that they've been given. So they might say, "Oh, I've been diagnosed with Hashimoto." Or I've been diagnosed with Sjogren or any other autoimmune disease or lymphatic disease or any other hormone imbalance, for example. And then I will ask them to take photographs of their eyes and send them to me, and I'll have a look at them. And I will propose to them what is actually happening in their body and why they've been diagnosed, but we don't really know why. What is the cause? What has caused this? And the way to actually establish this is iridology, to have a look at, okay, which glands are not working, which organs are affected, how much acidosis is in the body and where and how is that affecting, a gland that is seemingly unrelated to the one that I'm talking about. So iridology is a really interesting science, and it's been around for a long, long while. But some of the main names that you will hear when you start researching this is the first name actually is in 1880. It's a chart that was developed by a doctor, and his name was Ignaz von Peczely. I think he studied in Vienna actually, and he came up with this, with sort of one of the main charts, let me put it this way, of the iris and where the organs are located. And if you look at it, it actually makes sense because from an embryo, you come up like this and you develop in the womb. And you develop from the tissue that is your colon, and your colon, you can actually see that wrapped around right around your pupil there, and then everything else around it. And it's literally just the way you open up as an embryo, and that makes perfect sense. So yes, so his name will always pop up when you look up iridology, as does Dr. Jensen. Dr. Jensen, more recently, he died probably about 10 years ago, unfortunately. And he was somebody who developed and further developed those charts and really put his heart and soul into the science. And then there is another science which is called sclerology, and the sclera is the white of the eye. So this is the science of understanding, what certain signs mean when you have them in the white of your eye. So I'll give you a quick example. Sometimes you look at eyes and you see these swirly veins that come out of nowhere, or so it appears, and they just come across here or down or any location really. And that very often is a good indication for hardened arteries. If you see a straight line, very often that's a very good indication that there's been some sort of trauma to the body. Somebody might have had an accident, or they might have been hit by a ball and, some soft tissue that would have been extremely painful or even ruptured something. You would see that, and it's a straight line. Sometimes it fizzles out at the end, or there's a hook. It just depends. But somewhere in that line, you would see a straight, almost like a cut. And that's a red vein that you will see in the eye. But why does it all work? So I think the best way of explaining this, and the easiest way of being explained how this works, for me has always been to look at the eyes almost like a monitor. So you have the eyes that are a monitor where you can see what happens on the inside, and you can see what's on the outside and bring it in, and then it's interpreted inside your body. So you've got the monitor, you've got your hardware, which is linked to your nervous system, your central and your autonomic nervous system, and those then give the orders to your endocrine glands. And those are electromagnetic frequencies that happen in a split second. So I'll give you an example of fight and flight response. So you have a stimulus that comes into your eyes. Let's just start with the eyes. So it comes in through your eye. You see it, you think, okay, that's a dangerous situation. It goes in through your optic nerve. Your optic nerve sends a signal to the nervous system, and that then goes to the endocrine glands. In that case, it will be your adrenal, and it would say to your adrenal, produce epinephrine and norepinephrine, take away all the energy from the elimination organs and your brain, unfortunately too, and take it to the extremities, right? Once that comes down, then your adrenal will produce dopamine and acetylcholine to just calm things back down and bring back the energy to your elimination organs and your brain. So this is really just very simplified way of explaining this. But if you see, if your eyes see something and that then gets translated on the inside, it makes sense then for us to also be able to see at cell level what happens inside the body, right? So if you look at your eyes, there are two main things you're going to see. You're going to see the health of the cell, and you're going to see the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is it's like this top layer. It's like mucus on top, sort of just on top of the color of your eyes. So if you're born with blue eyes, for example, and you've got a completely backed up and clogged up lymph system, you will see some sort of a coloring, a discoloring in different areas of your eye. So white would indicate acute, yellow is subacute, brown is chronic. And then black, if you've got like a black little, like almost like a dot, like a really sharp black dot somewhere in your eye, that actually means it's degenerative. And you can see that on top of your color. And it will change the color of your eye. And sometimes you even get orange. And orange tends to be a sign of chemical deposits of sorts. And that is usually from medication. It's sulfa drugs, mainly antibiotics, things like that. You will see in your eye when you've had antibiotics for a while, or very often. There are loads of other signs, but just to give you an idea as to what it is we're actually looking for when we look at the iris. And it really tells an amazing story about the state of your health, but also why things have happened, why you've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's, what is the underlying cause. And that is the story that your eyes will tell. But also, obviously, questions about, how you feel, and, whether you've got brittle nails, or whether you're losing your hair, or whether you're feeling depressed, or you're parathyroid. So, and those are all the things that you will see. Or whether you've been smoking, and you can see the lungs and the bronchioles, and all those things you can see in your eye. Or whether you can't sleep, you will see that your pituitary has is blocked or backed up, or your pineal gland, or your hypothalamus. And there is an area of your brain where you would see that you would experience dizziness, and that's in your head. It's the top part of your iris, but it sits in your head, and you're clogged up in your head. You might even have tinnitus, so it is an ongoing sound in your ear. All these things, they all mean that there is something not quite right. And this is where very often allopathy lets you down. You don't look at the cause, but you just mask the symptom. Whereas with our approach, we actually completely detoxify the body and make sure that the symptoms go away, but the cause goes away. That we actually address what is causing your dis-ease. And that is really what we're about. So if you're interested in more information about the Deep Tissue Cleanse program, or you've got any questions about what I've been talking about today, please get in touch. You can either do so by just leaving a question in the comment box, or by emailing us. There's always an email address depending on where you're watching this video. Whether it's on YouTube, you just leave a comment or get in touch via the link, or on the website. It's an easy to get in touch, and even in the Facebook group too. All right. So I look forward to hearing from you. Take care. Bye-bye.